sinner.
God, we cracked the nut.
Original sin.
Let's talk about this, you hammering your affirmative disposition on the anvil of disappointment, my friend. So a young Dave Koechner, done with turkey coops, not looking for a future in turkey transportation vehicles.
Right.
Says, I'm going to get out of here. You go to college, you read Bertrand Russell, and your mind is blown.
Right.
What'd you major in?
Political science.
Oh, and did you go to class?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to class until my junior year when I realized I had no real shot of having a political life, because at that point I was taking the administrative classes and started to understand, oh, I see. You're either very wealthy, so you can get into any game you want, or you have a family business that is politics, or you're the brightest person in any room you walk into. And that supersedes anything, whether it's poverty or
So you check
wealth.
No on all of those?
Yes.
Okay. So
I'm smart enough for some things.
you could have been a candidate.
Yeah. In a way, but then you're compromising everything. And believe me, when I started down that path to political science, I really had a sense of I could make a difference, and I wanted to help the world.
And sure, that inevitably leads to show business, where you compromise everything, but you don't think you are.
Exactly.
You still think you're doing it on your own terms.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're Marc Maron, you are.
Well, that that was born out of desperation, my friend. It's a pure stroke of luck and timing on that one. Don't give me too much credit for being just two clicks away from suicide, and I decided to jump on a mic
which is ultimately certainly putting destiny in your own hands.
Well, yeah. So I'm fortunate it worked out this way, or else I'd be someplace crying, wondering why I couldn't get a job at a restaurant.
And if you did succumb to that thing, your final thoughts and I thought hopefully words would be, do you see what I did for you?
Yeah. Let's see if that works. Like, obviously, this being alive thing's not working out. Perhaps if I play this suicide thing right,
you'll be a deity.
Yeah, I'll be a deity. Nah.
And your either biography, unauthorized, or autobiography should be hammered on an anvil of discontent. That is a beautiful.
I said disappointment, but discontent.
Okay, all right, you're right. Disappointment. In searching, I then decided to leave the quest for political science, and I went and visited a friend in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I saw the Second City. And then I saw a poster that said they taught classes, and then a light went off. And I thought, oh, that's how people do that.
Right.
So then I moved to Chicago and started taking classes.
So you're telling me that in college, when you were searching, and I was talking about later in life.
Sure.
I don't know that you're going to tell me that you always had this positive chipper disposition all the way through.
No.
Right. So in college, you didn't wake up sweating and have a floating vision of Del Close in your dorm room.
Didn't know that. No.
Who's the large bearded man that's asking me to keep going forward?
Yeah, I didn't know who that was. I knew that the people on Saturday Night Live had come from Second City.
Right.
But I didn't know how someone begins on that path.
But at that time, when you left college, were you looking at Saturday Night Live and saying, I like that and I'm going to do that? Or
I was watching it. I still couldn't. I was too afraid to admit to myself that's a path I'd love to go down.
Right.
Because I didn't know I didn't know anybody who was an actor.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone who had done that. Even in college, I never hung out with any theater people. And that wasn't for any arrogance or dislike of that. I just didn't gravitate toward that.
Were you a football player?
In high school, and not a very good one. I was very small in high school.
Really?
Yeah. When I started high school, I was 5 foot tall, 99 pounds.
So you didn't start growing till SNL, or
till just now, actually.
It's happening. Look at my hands.
No, I was still growing when I got to college. I was not done growing. I was, I think, 17 when I first got to college, and then turned 18. So, but anyway.
Chicago.
Not a real athlete. Yes, Chicago. And then I was like, okay, this is it. I get it. This is what I want to do. And it's hard because when you're from a small town, there's not a culture that says you can do anything, we want you to succeed.
No,
if anything, it is, hey, don't you get too big for your britches.
Don't leave because we need you here.
Well, we don't. If you leave, then in a way, that shows me being less successful just by virtue of staying.
Yeah, and you might take a few people with you.
Well, or whatever.
Yeah.
That just means I failed. It's like, no, it doesn't.
Interesting. Misery loves company,
Yes,
I think, would be the adage
absolutely.
that we could attach to that.
And Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you get to Chicago, you go see Second City.
Go see Second City, go see the the poster, and then I go back to Columbia, Missouri, where I'm living, and decide I'm going to move to Chicago. And then, if you want to hear a story, I get arrested. I now dropped out of college. I'm going to save my money and move to Chicago.
Dropped out?
Oh, yeah. I quit going to all my classes because I realized, all right, poli-sci isn't for me. I'm not going to waste my time doing this. I know I'm going to go do something else.
So you didn't look at other departments in the school? You're
No.
just
I know. Not a good plan.
Poli-sci's not working out. I'm leaving college.
My mother had gone to college a little bit, and my aunts and uncles on my mother's side had all gone, but I didn't have anybody counseling me, like saying, hey, you really need to stick to this or that. Here's how you decide what you want in life. None of that. It's all unknown territory. So I'm figuring it out. Go back. My roommate was growing pot downstairs because we were living in this house. And we had both the first floor and the downstairs. He was growing some pot downstairs, and not well. He'd been growing them for months, and they were just still little things.
And that was before like the big buds, right? Like it was just
Correct.
a pot plant, so it was like 70s pot.
Yeah, he was just trying to grow it for his own use.
It wasn't hybrid, stinky weed.
No.
It was
And
like,
plus, he didn't have a good grow light. He just had a fluorescent light. Didn't know what he's doing. Some guy had come by.
but you're my age, so this was literally that shitty pot. It was way before. Like things that smelled like skunk.
Right.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't smoking pot.
Sure.
Every once in a while.
You're not a politician. You can own this shit here.
No, that's fine. It gets worse for me. Okay. So then some guy had come by to spray the house.
Yeah. Bug guy?
Thank you. Bug guy. A former cop. So then he comes, and I come home.
Do-gooder.
Yes. I come home from work one day. I was working at a restaurant. There are state police, local police, and sheriffs all at our house. And they're going to arrest my roommate for manufacture of marijuana, right? All they need me to do is say I didn't have anything to do with it. I write, okay, yeah, poor Larry. They say, can we want to look at the rest of the house?
So without even thinking, you threw the guy under the bus.
No. He'd already confessed to it. He said these are his. I had nothing to do with it, which was true. I didn't have anything to do with it.
All right, so you weren't
So
a
then
rat.
they said, we want to look at the rest of the house. I'm like, great, just get the fuck out of here. Now, this is late August. That May, I had been at a party where there was some cocaine, and someone had had a bullet, one of those bullets.
Sure, I remember those. You kind of twist a little thing on the side, and you do a little bump. Mm-hmm.
And they had given that to me or whatever, and I'd had it. I'd thrown it into a desk drawer, completely forgot about it, right? And apparently there was just enough. There was nothing in it but just dust, like residue around the glass. They find that in the desk, and I'm like, what? I didn't even, to show how little I used.
So you said, fucking Larry.
Right, right. They said, what's this? I said, I don't know.
Oh, Larry put that
So they
in.
take it in and have it analyzed, and I get arrested, 2 months later on that for felony possession of cocaine. That's Missouri, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If I'd had a good lawyer could say, we want our own independent test, they'd say, well, they can't be one. There wasn't enough there to even do it.
Right.
So that delayed my departure for Chicago for a year. So I had to sit and...
A year?
Yeah, because I had to sit and do probation. I had to pay off a lawyer. I had to...
you had a parole officer?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so
probation officer. Ridiculous.
And probation officer? And what, you had to do community service? How'd you...
Nope, just I had to check in every once in a while.
Really?
Ridiculous.
And did you, you went before a judge?
Yes.
And how'd that go?
I got 5 years probation.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Isn't it? Isn't that the fucking craziest thing ever?
Yeah. And you know what? That judge, probably poli-sci major.
Probably poli-sci major. And apparently, whatever, I'm not going to tell him. I don't even remember the lawyer's name. Nice guy. But I'd heard stories that all these guys had partied together. It's like, oh, come on.
They all do. That's the thing about politics. It's like on any level in any business, it's just a network of people that do each other favors.
Yeah.
That's all of it.
Of course. I agree. And especially at the very top echelon. And that's why there's really not a dime's worth of difference between the two parties that are changing money in the temple.
No, it's all about placating people who think they're still middle class into buying into the bullshit that maintains the status quo.
Manufacturing consent.
Right.
Let's call Chomsky.
Can we? Do you have his number? That'd be hilarious if you did. I do, actually.
Do you?
No. It'd be interesting. It would be mind-blowing if you did. It's like, I was just talking to Noam Chomsky yesterday. Like, I still keep political science as a hobby.
Can you imagine if you had Chomsky in your
I'm sure I could get hold of him.
That's pretty awesome.
I guess so, if you really want to just, get really long-winded messages. I just had a few thoughts, Mark. I thought I'd leave them on your phone.
I know you. I'd like to come back on your podcast and discuss.
Inbox full. Fucking Chomsky. 2 messages.
And then it's all
fold up.
Yeah.
That's my next. That's a good name for something. Fucking Chomsky.
Very good name.
All right, so
then that delayed my departure to Chicago. Then I moved to Chicago.
Did you
started taking
reflect?
classes.
What were you doing during that year? Did you didn't go back to school? You worked at
No. I worked at a restaurant and took like a management position or something to make more money to save to go and move to Chicago.
All right, so you load up your wagon.
Ford Escort.
Nice.
With all of my possessions. I stay at a YMCA.
Posters? Any posters?
Let's think.
What CDs were what cassettes were you playing in the car? Did you make a mixtape?
Someone had made me a mixtape, I'm sure. I'm sure, let's see. There would have been some REM, some U2,
yeah,
some AC/DC.
Good, mixing it up.
Yeah.
Highbrow, lowbrow. Yeah, I'm on the pulse, but I'm still got a rock dick.
Oh, the Replacements, huge in the Replacements.
Hell yeah.
So all of that, from that era.
So you're drinking on the way, smoking some reefer. What are you doing?
Not smoking reefer, but drinking quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, always drinking.
Well on your way.
Yeah. And then in Chicago, that was an amazing time.
Yeah.
An amazing time.
For drinking.
Well, for drinking and for studying and being with an amazing group of people that
Explosion of self.
Truly, yeah, it really was. I mean, once I started doing it, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I should be doing.
So what were you doing?
I was studying improvisation.
At Second City?
Well, before Second City and also the Improv Olympic.
Right.
That's IO as it's called now. And that's where I started studying with Del and met up with a bunch of great people.
You actually did classes with Del?
Yeah, for 3 years.
Like I've talked to maybe one or two people about Del. Now, like Del Close is known as the
guru,
the grand wizard of Chicago improv.
Right.
What was your impression of him?
Well, you're aware of his reputation, and he didn't suffer fools, and he was very short with anybody. He had very little patience for shit. And so it was like either get on board or get the fuck out. Basically,
what did that mean to be on board? What was lesson one?
Do it well.
Right.
Respond honestly and truthfully in the moment to what the fuck is happening on stage. You don't need to make anything up. Just be there.
And this was Herald structure?
Well, yeah, right. Long form. But this is before it has become what it is now, which is more pure long form. Then they still had games in it. But, well aware that Del had instructed, Belushi and Murray and had come up with a concept for SCTV's television show. Like, why don't you set it in this independent TV studio? And these are all the shows. Like, that was Del's idea. And Del would talk about stuff like be an archetype on stage. Like, let that be your guide.
Like Commedia dell'arte.
Well, more like you are fire or you are ice, and let that be the thing that gives you voice in the scene. And you're like, holy fuck. And he's telling you to read Joseph Campbell, read, anything about the gods, and use that to inform your work.
How did that inform your work?
Well, you'd read it and go, what the fuck am I reading? I don't get it.
Yeah.
So basically, for me, what Del Close was, you better try your best. This shit is really, really important. It's not about fucking off and making a dick joke. It's about really trying to mine for truth. That's what I got from it.
In the moment.
In what? In the moment.
And in yourself.
That's the best you could be.
Yeah.
Which nowadays is known as the Temple of Maron.
Finally.
Finally we
finally
get back
have a temple.
And his lieutenant behold.
But what did that, like, when you say fire and ice, that seemed to be specific.
Right. So for instance, if you're on stage and you're doing an improvised scene, you're supposed to come clean to it. Don't have any idea. But if you decide to inform your person with the idea of either fire or ice, that's going to affect how you speak to a person. So if I say I'm ice and you and I have a conversation, it's going to be whatever ice means to me. For instance, I could be cold, I could be blustery, I could be sleety, any adverb or adjective that I could use to inform my response or whatever I say to you.
Sure. And through those exercises, what do you think you found?
Back then?
Or just now. I mean, how did it? Because, there are certain people that have a defined comedic presence, and a lot of that is natural. But I have to assume that, like with you come from the sort of gregarious, blustery kind of steamroller guy,
right?
But were you like that before you entered?
I would say, yeah. Well, my father's side of the family, I would say that's very typical of all of their behavior.
But were you funny?
Oh yeah, I was always funny.
Okay.
Back in I was the class clown.
Right. So I'm just trying to figure out what did you come away with 3 years of work with Del Close? I mean, what were the skills that you found yourself with?
I think just the skill for improvisation is listening and responding and heightening. So whatever you say, the other person, for instance, in improvisation, you yes and it, right?
Yeah.
So no matter what is said, your response is some way to further that last thing that was said.
Okay, let's do one. Like, okay, I have a little bit of a headache.
I have the worst headache.
And do you think we have the same headache?
I don't know, but I think mine's just a little bit bigger. Mine would take one, whatever the largest pill you could think of taking, even if you had to saute it in a pan of oil, I might need that. Now, that's one way of doing it.
I'm thinking about cutting my head off.
You know what? I have a very sharp knife right here in this drawer. So that's one way of doing it. So we're both agreeing it. The other thing is you've got a headache, and so my job would be to ensure that you still get a larger one. Mm-hmm. So you have a headache.
Okay, I have a headache.
I'm about done with tuba practice. Just hold on.
I don't think
you were well aware that between 2 and 3, I practice tuba.
I don't think the tuba is what's causing it.
You're absolutely right. It's probably the vice that you have around your head. Now that's desperation. But it's yes-anding whatever it is.
Right. And then I could say, like, you don't think it's me hitting my head like this?
I hadn't thought of that until just now.
Right. Okay.
And so now that if we've gotten that far, then someone should edit that scene, right? Because we can't get any further.
We can't?
Well, we could, but we're not on our feet right now, and so verbally we can make one up. But we heighten.
Couldn't you just say, "Oh no, it's spread to my hand"?
Or wait, I could also say, either it's you punching you in the head, or maybe I should stop doing it too.
Yeah, right. Okay, so, I get it. Okay, that was a good lesson.
Right. It's all just simple. Now here's the irony. That's counterintuitive to acting, because in any scene, an acting scene, you're supposed to actually be opposed to one another in one way. Your wants would cause a dramatic relationship to ensue. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily agreement. So agreement works best in improvisation, but it doesn't necessarily work best in drama.
Conflict is drama.
Exactly.
Okay. And you can't do conflict in improvisation?
You can, but a lot of times it doesn't. No, you can both agree to argue. You can both agree, as long as both people agree to keep doing what they were doing.
Okay.
If you say, I think we should go east, and I go, east.
Yeah.
I was thinking west. Now, a teacher might go, you didn't agree with him. Well, in a way I did, because now we've got something to do and the audience is drawn into that relationship, right? Because now these people want two different wants. So now there's that scene's going to be about negotiation or dominance or confusion. Mm-hmm.
Do you teach?
I sometimes do.
I could feel that. No, it's good. I learned a little bit. I've asked for improv lessons on this show before, and now I feel like I really got one.
Well, I would say this. What I tell people, it truly is as simple as a conversation. Because if we all commit to having a simple conversation, it means, A, I'm just going to listen and respond honestly. Mm-hmm. That's improvising.
Right.
Now, what happens once you get on stage, and this is something Dell used to say, you get, I forget what it was, 10% or 20% dumber.
Right.
Because now all of a sudden there's an agenda. But really there isn't. You're just still having a conversation on stage. And if you're naturally funny anyway, and you're listening, and you're heightening what the last person said, it's delightful.
Right.
Because there's no real work.
Right.
You don't have to do anything.
I get
and the minute
that.
someone tries to be funny, it usually breaks.
And there's a lot of that going around.
It's most often.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Why don't people fucking, honor Del Close anymore? Right?
There's a new church.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
The new church of look at me.
Of Maron.
Oh, no. So what happens in Chicago? You go through the thing. Did you do the touring company and all that shit?
I did eventually. I did the Improv Olympic for a number of years, and then I tried to get hired by Second City 3 times, and they never hired me. And I have a theory as to why the woman that ran the Improv Olympic used to put names on a list for the head of Second City, like, here's the people you should hire. So I have a suspicion that she'd see whatever names that the other person had checked and go, okay, those people are definitely not going to get hired.
Right.
So it took a while, and then they eventually hired me, and then I got into the touring company, and then to a resident company, and then from there to Saturday Night Live.
Well, what was that process, the Saturday Night Live process?
They had come to town. I'd auditioned for Mad TV, and Thomas, the casting director, had shown my tape to Lorne.
Right.
And Lorne really liked what I'd done, and they actually put me on a small holding deal.
Right.
That they never paid me for, because that was going to happen. I was going to be on a holding deal if I didn't get hired by Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew I was going to get hired. So I'd done we were in the resident company. They fly to New York, you do your audition, then you wait, then you have your second audition, and then you wait, and then they fly you out the third time to say, congratulations, you're hired.
You didn't have to go in the meet with Lauren?
Oh, yeah. That's the final one.
Yeah, and how'd that go for you?
It was very odd because you don't really know you just got hired. At least that's what my experience was.
You had a good experience with Lauren?
Yeah, he was fine. He didn't let me go. It was West Coast that decided I was no longer necessary.
So you had a good time that first year?
Oh, yeah.
West Coast? What do you mean West Coast?
Well, it was the first year that Saturday Night Live had competition late night.
With Mad TV?
Mad TV and then Howard Stern's show.
Right.
So the numbers had dropped, and it was an entirely new cast except for Norm Macdonald stayed on, David Spade, and Tim Meadows. So
that was the year that I auditioned.
And this was the year after it had gone dramatically bad for Saturday Night Live. That's the New York Times or New Yorker article, or what was it, the New York Magazine article called Saturday Night Dead. And so they jettisoned most of the cast, and the ratings had kind of gone down. So we were not getting normal ratings. And I really thought, shit, this is going to be the last year for this show.
Yeah.
So anyway, West Coast was able to have more say in what Lauren was doing.
Really?
Yeah. So Lauren wanted to keep me, but the West Coast thought, I don't like that guy. Apparently, Don Ohlmeyer didn't like the fops. I don't know if you remember those guys. Myself and Mark McKinney did these white-haired wig guys. They were courtesans, basically. The guys went, those guys, which were almost a hit, but then they weren't. So they're like, I don't know what those guys are, and they seem, somewhat fey or twee, whatever.
You do infuse your characters at times with a peculiar sexuality.
Well, why wouldn't you?
No, I look. I mean,
well, we're all sexual humans, but that's interesting. I think it's very interesting to put a question mark in there of like, what is this or that? Is this person?
Yeah, because what did I see you do recently at John Glazer's premiere? What's that character?
That is Roy, who is actually gay.
No,
Big Roy.
But also, like, I think the Naked Trucker guy, he
Gerald.
seems to be some sort of weird kind of like, Hunter S. Thompson, trucker, I'll fuck anything goes kind of guy.
That is about as big a compliment as I could ever get. A Hunter S. Thompson character. That's fantastic. And yes, Gerald would just as easily give someone a hand job for $15 as he would, lift a box full of Snickers from a 7-Eleven.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Anything goes.
Yeah.
There's no moral compass.
Right. It's all just part of business.
Yeah. But after Saturday Night Live, I mean, were you crushed? Were you frightened?
I was completely crushed. I was devastated. I couldn't believe it. But
were you married at that time?
No. I had thought, in my head, I thought, I'm only going to stay here 3 years, and then I'm going to leave because I don't want to stay too long.
You had a career plan.
Right. And I believe that, as they say, the universe hears you, and they just sped it up.
Right.
But I was very fortunate because here's what Lauren told me. He said, Dave, you're an artist. Don't lose that. So I believed him. And
Isn't it amazing how we believe certain people that have power, the Buddhas of the world?
But it is also true. I believed, I still do, that I'm an artist, and I'm sure you do too, and that I'm an artist.
I always say that.
Right.
I usually open most of my interviews like, I cut it out, but I just want you to know, like, generally my opening line to anyone who comes in here is, that Dave Koechner, he's an artist, isn't he?
I love your opening music, by the way. Who is that?
John Montagna, Montagna. John.
Is that called
bass player from Brooklyn?
Is that called the Marc Maron theme?
WTF? Yeah.
All right, that's pretty cool.
Let's get back to your life coming off the rails.
Right. I was devastated. I couldn't believe it. And it's a long waiting process because I saw it in the paper first that my contract might not be renewed, and then I had to wait officially until the end of summer, like August 17th, is when I officially found out, nope, you're not coming back. So then I decided, well, I have to move to Los Angeles. That's where it's all going to happen. I was actually on a backpacking trip with my buddy, James Grace. We were backpacking through the great Northwest, and someone called who was managing me at the time said, you need to get here now. And so I came to town and had some auditions and all that. I was very fortunate. I got some holding deals and got work right away. So it did work out, like that.
So there was no prolonged drinking,
Oh, no, that was going on the entire time.
Oh, right.
Oh, that was a steady drumbeat. That was...
That
was my muse.
Yeah.
I mean, from the time I hit Chicago through, and I often look back and go, wow, had I put as much energy into focusing on writing and creating something tangible, I would have been miles ahead.
Now, did you find yourself drinking because of your idols, or you were just wired that way?
I was wired that way.
And you seem very clear now.
Well, my wife and I are taking a year off.
Drinking?
Yeah.
Each other?
Yeah. No, both of us. But just, we have 5 children, so it can't hurt. And,
so you decided to do some parenting?
Yes.
That's
just
very
as
nice.
an experiment.
Generous.
Yeah. Just because, give the liver a break and give the kids a break from the screaming. But no, it just, you dedicate to something, and you certainly can only help your life, right? If you're completely sober, and I'd say it is. I've lost weight and certainly more clear.
Now, okay, so after SNL, I mean, it seems that's when your career really took off in terms of the bit parts and this and that.
Right. I was very fortunate in that I was able to get steady work.
And you were in with that crew? Were you friends with Will Ferrell and Carell and all those guys?
Will and I had met that first year on SNL, and we had become friends, and so that certainly helped.
And Carell?
Steve and I knew each other from Second City. His wife and I were hired to Saturday Night Live together, and she and I were in a company at Second City together. So I'd known those guys for a long time. But a lot of people don't realize, a lot of times it's not up to the actor to hire another actor.
No.
Because producers do that. I was very fortunate that I auditioned for, say, like Anchorman and got the job because those guys couldn't. In fact, Adam and Will had told me, like, they didn't want to say, we think it should be this guy, because they knew that sometimes when people say, we think this guy, for whatever reason, arbitrarily, they'll automatically choose someone else.
Right.
Power, who knows why, right?
Politics.
Suggestion, politics, whatever. So I was just fortunate in that I think I understood what Adam and Will were, the tone of what they were doing, and understand what they were doing comedically.
Yeah, it seems like there's definitely a school of comedy that you're part of, and that seems to be it. I mean, you were in Talladega Nights. You're in but Thank You for Smoking was a little different.
Yeah.
That was like when I saw you in that, I'm like, he's almost a real guy here. Were you almost a real guy there?
I was very nearly a real person.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do exactly. Well, it was not a caricature.
Right.
It was not. It was a nearly dramatic part. Right. Yeah. It took a little bit of acting rather than sketchy, if you will.
Right. And I think that same with The Office. That guy can be real.
Oh yeah, I think so.
He's a disturbing guy.
Yeah. Very disturbing. He's got a very dark loneliness to him, right?
Yeah. And what did you think of in terms of the survival of the Naked Trucker show? I mean, that to me that was like a long shot, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was so peculiar and so specific, and like the live shows were great,
amazing.
But I mean, did you really think? Do you think you were going to get a good run on Comedy Central?
I did. I was not sure at first because that's not how we wanted to do the show. If you remember VH1's Storytellers, you'd see these musicians in a small venue, and there'd be a crowd down front, and they'd have these jibs, these cameras going from the back, right? So you'd see more intimate, right?
Right.
I felt that's what we should do and dissolve to these stories, but Comedy Central had this model of Chappelle and Mencia where it's the host throw to sketches,
right? Which
was counterintuitive to what we do on the stage show or did in the stage show. But I thought, well, they're the network; they must know,
right?
And like that, I'm not blaming them because that's all they knew. They couldn't wrap their heads around something else, and I don't think we were effective in articulating. No, it really should go this way. And so that's the way it went. I think that's what hurt us mostly but there was not an awareness of who we were. We weren't the Smothers Brothers. We were like, oh, them. They have their own show. Now it's the Naked Trucker and T-Bones, and America's going, who are they?
Yeah.
And I would say, to their fault, to their credit, they put us on the air. But a big mistake was they sold the show as blue-collar comedy.
Right.
Which killed it. Because it wasn't blue-collar comedy.
Well, yeah, what were those guys going to do with it?
Exactly. So we should have had the...
Because you were showing, along those lines, you were showing exactly what the blue-collar comedy people were trying to hide.
Exactly.
Which was that, their people are just populated with freaks and misfits.
Yes. Exactly.
That'll do
Here's the
anything
underbelly. Have a look.
Yeah.
I will splay it open and now cook it for you.
You ever seen like pictures of photo documentaries of swingers enclaves?
Oh, boy.
It's always those Naked Trucker guys.
Sure.
They're just people like everyone's just sort of like, yeah, we're just hanging out in our lounge chairs. Someone's fucking my wife right now. It's never.
There's a tip jar. I don't know if he'll leave anything. He usually doesn't.
Exactly.
I don't insist on condoms, but it's strongly recommended.
Yeah, she's pretty clean.
So kids are out of the house, but they sold it as Roadhouse comedy. So I think people from the Colbert Nation and the Daily Show already had made up their mind. I'm not watching that.
Right.
And then the blue collar fans were thinking,
"What the fuck is this?
What is this?"
Yeah.
So it just didn't work.